Have you ever heard a woman say something that felt small at first, but deep down it cut you in a way you couldn't forget? You're not alone. Many men convince themselves it's just a joke or not that serious. But the truth is, those little words are often loaded with meaning, and the longer you ignore them, the more power they have to weaken you. That's why in this video, I'm going to show you the 5 phrases every man must pay attention to. These are not small red flags, they're alarm bells. By the end, you'll know exactly what to listen for, and you'll have the clarity to protect your time, your energy, and your sanity. So let's break down the very first phrase and why the moment you hear it, you should start walking away. 1. You're too sensitive. When a woman tells you you're too sensitive, it's almost never about you overreacting. Most of the time, it's her way of dodging responsibility. Think about it. Instead of listening to your feelings or owning up to her actions, she flips it back on you, making you doubt yourself. This phrase isn't about helping you toughen up. It's a subtle form of manipulation meant to shut you down. Why is this dangerous? Because healthy relationships are built on respect and open communication. If you tell her something that bothers you and she brushes it off by calling you too emotional, she's not trying to understand you. She's dismissing you. And when that happens again and again, you slowly start questioning your own reality. You stop speaking up even when something genuinely hurts you because deep down you're scared she'll just laugh it off. That's exactly how respect dies in a relationship. Not in one big dramatic fight, but in 1,000 little moments where your voice doesn't matter. From a psychological angle, this is actually a power move. By labeling you as too sensitive, she shifts the blame away from her own behavior and makes you look like the problem. And the moment you accept it, you basically give her permission to keep crossing your boundaries. Let's make this real with an example. Imagine you've been waiting at a restaurant for 40 minutes. She shows up late, no call, no text. You stay calm and say, "I don't like being kept waiting like that." Instead of apologizing, she smirks and says, "Wow, you're too sensitive. It's not a big deal." On the surface, that sounds small, but underneath, it's a power play. She's shifting the focus away from her being disrespectful to you being weak. If you let it slide once, it sets the stage for more disrespect later, because you've just taught her that your time, comfort, and feelings don't matter. Men, here's the truth. A woman who respects you will listen when you speak up. She may not agree with you every time, but she won't mock you for having boundaries. The second she starts labeling your concerns as sensitivity, she's already showing you where you stand in her priorities, and sadly, you're not very high on that list. And if that's the case, the smartest move isn't to argue, defend yourself, or try to prove her wrong. The smartest move is to walk away before you lose, not just her respect, but your own. 2. You should be more like. When a woman looks at you and says, "You should be more like," it's not just an innocent comment, it's a dagger wrapped in a smile. What she's really saying is, "You're not enough for me." It doesn't matter if she's comparing you to her ex, a coworker, a male friend, or even some celebrity she saw on Instagram. The message is the same. You're falling short of her standards. And let's be real, that cuts deep, because comparison is one of the fastest ways to poison a relationship. It plants a seed of insecurity inside you. That seed grows slowly, but over time it starts eating away at your confidence, your masculinity, and your sense of worth. Instead of feeling respected, you start feeling like you're in a competition you never signed up for. Now here's the dangerous part. Sometimes women make these comparisons without even thinking about how much they sting. But other times it's intentional. It's a subtle move to make you chase her approval. The moment you start molding yourself to fit her ideal, you stop being the man she was originally attracted to. You stop being authentic, and authenticity is what creates real attraction. Chasing her imaginary standard is the fastest way to lose her interest altogether. Think about this scenario. You've been working long hours, grinding to provide or build a future, and because of that, you haven't had much time to hit the gym. One night she casually says, "You should be more like James from my office. He's always so fit and full of energy." On the surface, it sounds like a simple observation. But in reality, she just told you another man is doing something better than you. That's not encouragement. It's disrespect dressed up as advice. Over time, these "you should be more like" comments chip away at your identity, and slowly you stop recognizing yourself. The irony: the more you try to live up to her comparisons, the less attractive you become, because you're no longer the confident, authentic man she first noticed. So hear me clearly: if she starts comparing you to other men, don't treat it as a challenge to do better. Treat it as a sign, because the more you stay, the more your self-worth will erode. And once that's gone, you lose not only her respect, but your own. That's when the smart move is to walk away. 3. I don't need you. When a woman looks you dead in the eye and says, "I don't need you," it might sound like confidence or independence, but in most relationships, it's not about independence, it's about power. What she's really telling you is, you're replaceable. And trust me, that message cuts deep. On the surface, it might seem like she's just saying she can handle life on her own, which is perfectly fine. Nobody wants a partner who's completely dependent. But in the context of a relationship, the hidden meaning is very different. It's not about strength. It's about reminding you that you're not essential to her happiness or her future. In other words, you're an option, not a priority. Think about how destructive that is. You give your time, your energy, your support. You're there when she needs you. You step up. You make sacrifices. And then she throws this line out like none of it matters. Over time, those words chip away at your motivation. Because let's be honest, who wants to keep pouring into someone who acts like they'd be perfectly fine without you? Here's the truth. Independence in a relationship is healthy. Independence says, "I'm capable on my own, but I deeply value what you bring to my life." But detachment says, "I can replace you anytime." That's not strength, it's dismissal. And when she starts carrying that energy, you'll feel it everywhere. She stops appreciating the small things you do. She doesn't acknowledge your effort. She starts making decisions without even asking your opinion. And she moves like losing you wouldn't change a thing. A woman who truly values you won't weaponize independence against you. She won't make you feel replaceable. Instead, she'll make it clear that while she can stand on her own, she doesn't want to do life without you. That's love. Anything less is a warning sign, and if you hear the phrase, "I don't need you," more than once, don't argue, don't beg. Recognize it for what it is, the signal that it's time to walk away. 4. If you loved me, you would. When a woman looks at you and says, "If you loved me, you would," it might sound like a sweet request, but don't get it twisted. This is one of the oldest manipulation tricks in the book. She's not asking. She's weaponizing your emotions to get exactly what she wants. Here's why it's dangerous. In a healthy relationship, requests come from a place of honesty and respect. "I'd really appreciate it if you could," or "This matters to me, can we talk about it?" But when she drops the "if you love me" line, it's not communication. It's a trap. She's putting you in a no-win situation. Either give in or risk being labeled as uncaring, unloving, or even a bad partner. That's not love. That's emotional blackmail. And let's be real. Too many men fall for this every single time. You think to yourself, "I don't want her to think I don't love her, so I'll just do it." And before you know it, you're spending money you don't have, breaking your own boundaries, or saying yes to things that go against your values just to keep the peace. But here's the problem. The moment you give in, you teach her that this strategy works. And once she learns it works, guess what? She'll use it again and again. That's not a relationship built on love. That's a relationship built on control. Real love doesn't need guilt trips or emotional pressure. Real love is proven through consistent actions you choose to take, not actions you're bullied into. Let me paint it simply. Imagine she says, "If you loved me, you'd buy me that expensive bag," or "If you loved me, you'd cancel your plans with your friends tonight." Those aren't signs of love. They're tests of control, and the more you play along, the further you drift from the kind of relationship you actually want. So the next time you hear "if you loved me, you would," don't rush to prove yourself. Stop, think, and ask, is this really love, or is it manipulation in disguise? The answer to that question will tell you exactly what you need to do next. 5. You're lucky to have me. When a woman looks at you and says, "You're lucky to have me," don't take it as a playful joke or a sweet compliment. It's not. What she's really saying is, "I'm the prize here and you should be grateful I even chose you." On the surface it may sound teasing, but underneath, it plants a dangerous seed that she's above you and you're the one constantly trying to measure up. Here's why this is a trap. Over time, those words start to change the way you think. You stop seeing the relationship as a partnership and you start treating it like a competition where you're always trying to prove your worth. She acts like she's doing you a favor by staying and you end up working harder and harder just to keep her happy. That's not love. It's imbalance. Healthy relationships don't work like that. They aren't about who's luckier to have who. They're about two people respecting each other, appreciating each other, and knowing that both sides bring value to the table. But when she positions herself as the rare treasure and you as the lucky finder, she's already telling you that she doesn't see you as an equal partner. She sees herself on a pedestal and you at the bottom, reaching up. So when you hear, "You're lucky to have me," don't brush it off. Recognize it for what it is, a subtle threat to your value, and ask yourself, do you want a partner who lifts you up or one who constantly tries to keep you beneath her? Gentlemen, let's be real. Most men don't lose women because they weren't good enough. They lose women because they ignored the signs, the small words and subtle phrases that showed she didn't respect them. And here's the truth you can't escape. Respect always comes before love. Once the respect is gone, nothing you do will ever make her stay for the right reasons. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever been told one of these things? How did it play out in your life? Share your story in the comments. I read them all and I reply to as many as I can. Who knows? Your experience might be the wake-up call another man needs before it's too late. So, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell, and I'll see you in the next one.